Breaking news, after 2 seasons in Milwaukee, he's coming home. Damian Lillard back to the Portland Trailblazers. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. We're going to be on top of all the latest NBA breaking news. In fact, right now, about 70% of you watching this, you're not subscribed. Let's fix that. Hit that subscribe button. So this was a shock. Shams Charania reporting that Lillard and the Blazers are now reuniting. In fact, here it is. A lot of information here from Shams, but the breaking news, Damian Lillard finalizing a 3-year, $72 million contract to return to the Blazers. And I do have a bit of a bone to pick with them about that. I'll talk more about that in just a second. The deal is expected to include a player option in 27-28 and a no trade clause. Damian Lillard is missing an Achilles. He is recovering from a torn Achilles, and he got a 3-year deal at 35 years old and a no trade clause. Unbelievable. By the way, happy birthday, Damian Lillard. Just a couple of days ago, he turned 35. Happy birthday indeed. Got a big new contract from the Portland Trailblazers. Now, look at this. Unbelievable. Now, Damian Lillard, because he's still getting paid by the Bucks, is going to make $70 million between the Blazers and the Bucks over the next 2 years. Oh my goodness. Dame Dollar indeed. Damian Lillard bringing in the money, and his agent Aaron Goodwin of Goodwin Sports Management. Yeah, if I was the agent, I'd be making sure my name was getting in there as well. What a deal for Damian Lillard. What is Portland doing? I don't know. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Lillard and the Blazers both deeply cared about the comeback in recent weeks, with multiple meetings among the Portland franchise icon, general manager Joe Cronin, and head coach Chauncey Billups to bond and move forward on a new deal. Lillard will use the entire season to rehab from a torn Achilles tendon. So this is not about Dame joining the Blazers right now. This is about Dame joining the Blazers next year. He'll be under contract this year, but he is going to rehab. This is similar to Kevin Durant signing with the Brooklyn Nets with also a torn Achilles, knowing that he was not going to play the entire season. Now, there has been some reporting that Lillard, back before this move was made, that Lillard could potentially return maybe in the last couple of weeks of the season if the team he was on was making a playoff push at that point. I would assume that would still be true for the Blazers, but it sounds like that's not going to be the expectation. And frankly, this is the right way to approach it. The expectation should not be that he plays at all this season, just recover. And then if the Blazers happen to find themselves in the playoff mix and Lillard happens to be ready to go and we've got a few weeks left in the season, okay, then you see what's what. But the expectation should not be that Dame's going to play at all this season. So Portland is going to be paying him to rehab, to get better, to return to full strength, and he'll get to do that in Portland where his kids are, his family is, and I think that's a big deal for Dame. And you know what? From a human perspective, I'm happy for him on that front. Obviously happy for him that the dude's going to get paid $70 million per season for the next few years. That's a lot of money for Damian Lillard to get, so happy for him for that. But from a human perspective, he gets to be near his kids. We're already seeing Chris Paul in his free agency right now, prioritizing teams that are close to his family in Los Angeles. And I get it. It makes a lot of sense why these guys want to be close to their family, want to be close to their kids. And that's certainly the case here with Damian Lillard. And so from that perspective, that Dame now gets to, while he's going to be off the floor for the next year, while he gets to be close to his kids, his family, that's absolutely awesome. But there's another element to this, and that's that Damian Lillard is a legend in Portland. He's a legend there. And now he gets to finish his career there in Portland, where it all started. He spent 2 years away, but Damian Lillard being a Blazer just feels right. Seeing him in a Milwaukee Bucks jersey, it just never was the same. I know there were rumors linking Damian Lillard to Boston, and frankly, that would have made some sense. I think on the basketball court, coming back next year, Jason Tatum would have been back. You could have made some noise there, especially in a weaker Eastern Conference. But Dame in Portland, especially when you add the family element to this, it just makes too much sense to not do this if you're Damian Lillard. Now, Shams notes that Portland traded Dame for Drew Holiday, Toumani Camara, assets in 2023. Then Holiday to Boston for Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and assets, which partially became Denny Avdia. Now the Blazers got Holiday back and Lillard back, plus Avdia, Williams, Kamara, a 2029 first, and 2 Milwaukee swaps. So, I mean, the Blazers wound up getting back the same guys that they traded away. If we kind of look at, the big picture of this, which in that sense, it's not bad work. In another sense, though, what do we do? What do we do in Portland? Here's the deal. When you have a player who's bought out like this, one of the benefits is the guy is already getting paid by somebody else. And that typically will allow teams to sign them at a very below market value contract. And you can say the money Lillard is getting here, which is essentially MLE money, is still a below market value deal. Maybe it is. But like the Clippers got Bradley Beal, who has 2 healthy Achilles, for $11 million for 2 years. The Blazers are going to be giving Damian Lillard much more than that. And obviously, Damian Lillard's star has shined brighter than Beal's did when they were both at the peak of their powers. But Lillard is older and coming off a significant injury. And you look at, again, what buyout guys tend to go for because they're already getting paid by another club. They typically will go for a minimum salary, maybe part of a biannual exception or a taxpayer mid-level. This is full mid-level money. Now, Portland has enough flexibility below the first apron to do this, to make it happen. And I don't think this is terrible value for Damian. I don't look at this contract and say, oh my gosh, this is going to be an albatross on their books or anything like that. No, it's $14 million. Not that big of a deal. But all of that, Dame's going to get $70 million. Perhaps is some of this like a thank you from Portland for the years of service? Maybe. But on top of all of that, he also gets a no trade clause, which, to be honest, was a little bit of surprise to me that he was actually eligible for it. I thought you had to have those years of service with the club consecutively heading up to the year that you signed the contract. So leaving would then dismiss your ability to sign a no trade clause. Clearly, I'm wrong in that thinking if he's getting one in this deal. So that's interesting that you're giving him a no trade clause as well. Now, the goal here, maybe this probably matters. A no trade clause probably matters less here than it does in just about any other situation, because the goal is not going to be for Damian Lillard to ever leave again. The goal is going to be for Lillard, and rightfully so, to retire as a Blazer. And that's what I think everybody wants to see. So Lillard having or not having a no trade clause probably doesn't matter all that much in actuality. But it is interesting that he's getting a no trade clause, according to Shams, in this deal, on top of the fact that he's going to be making $70 million. Now, again, only $14 million from Portland, but ideally would have liked to have seen them get a bit more of a discount than that. Now, what does this mean for the Blazers, though, in the Western Conference? The West is wild. It is an insanely stacked conference. We know the Blazers are going for it. They're going to make a playoff push this year. We know the teams like the San Antonio Spurs are expected to be on the rise. You've got clubs that are on the go. Basically, in the West, 14 of the 15 teams fancy themselves as legitimate playoff teams heading into the season. It is going to be a dogfight getting through the season in the Western Conference. So where does this slot the Blazers? Well, for this year, you still have Drew Holiday, 35 years old, who's a good player. I like his game a lot, but personally, I was not a fan of the trade for Portland, getting Drew Holiday back, given what they gave up, that they gave up some capital to get him. Now, I believe that second round pick has since come out of it. That makes it a little bit better, but you gave up Anthony Simons, a younger player, expiring contract to take on Drew Holiday, who has 3 years remaining on his deal. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but next year, let's say the Blazers, this is the ideal world now that the Blazers are looking for, that the team makes a step this year. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they don't. We'll see. I don't think they're a lock to make it. I don't think they're a lock to miss it either. I think they had a legitimate run next year. I wouldn't pencil them in as a playoff team, though. But Denny Avdia made legitimate steps forward. I think he's an incredible value contract. Toumani Camara is an insane. I mean, look at this. Toumani Camara is not even on my screen right now. Right? There he is. I got to move all the way down. Non-guaranteed money. He wound up being the best player in the DeAndre Ayton trade. Go figure, with the Phoenix Suns. Toumani Camara has been a hell of a find for the Portland Trailblazers. Then you've got guys, another veteran in Jeremy Grant. Can he have a bounce back year? Last year was awful for him. He's an extreme negative value, I believe, on his contract right now, particularly with 3 years remaining on the deal, but maybe he can bounce back a bit next year. If you ever get a healthy season out of Robert Williams, he's phenomenal. He's so good when he plays, but he's played 26 games total over the last 2 years. But you put these pieces together. Matisse Thybulle, can he bounce back from an injury-plagued year last year? Can Shaden Sharp take another step forward? What about Scoot Henderson? Can he continue to improve? There is a world where the Blazers get the young guys up to speed using veterans like Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant to pour some gasoline on that fire, to increase the speed at which the young players pick things up because they're around adults in the room every day who have been there, who have done that. Drew Holiday has won NBA championships in multiple cities. There is a world where the young players on the Blazers pick up the habits, the work ethic, all of that. And I don't suggest that they have poor work ethic right now, but that there's a benefit to being alongside those veteran players who have been there, who have been to the heights of the tallest mountain in the NBA. And by the time Dame comes back next year, then the team is really ready to roll. That is, I think, the ideal situation for the Blazers. And what will Dame be coming off of a torn Achilles? We don't know. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. But for the time being, the Blazers, clearly, they are done with rebuilding. They don't want to they want to make a push. They want to be making the playoffs right now. I don't know if they're going to do it this season. That's if they were in the East, sure, I would pencil them in as a playoff team. In the West, it's stacked. It's going to be a challenge. But I think the plan is get these guys up to speed, get the young players another year of development, and you're off and running. Now you're doing that with a 36-year-old Drew Holiday at that point, a 36-year-old Damian Lillard. Jeremy Grant will be 32, still under contract for multiple years. Is it a foolproof plan? No, it's not. There's a way that this could all go very, very wrong. If the young players are not ready to make that leap, if the veterans are not able to stay healthy, they're not able to get on the floor, you've got an interesting mix of much older players and some talented youngsters. There's going to be a lot on Donovan Clingan, Hanson Yang, some of these guys to fill in the middle. Can Rob Williams get healthy? Shaden Sharp, does he continue to take another step? He is so bouncy, so athletic. Can he take that next step? What about Scoot Henderson? Can he become a dependable piece? Those are the questions for the Portland Trailblazers. It's an interesting build with this mix of veterans. It reminds me a little bit of the Washington Wizards, but a better version of that with the mix of veterans and then young players. It better in that they're more ready to win right now. Maybe not better top end. I do think the Wizards have an interesting top end skill set here that they can potentially hit, but the Blazers are done with the tanking. They want to move forward, and I think this year will be the ramp up, and then next year Damian Lillard comes back and it's a full go in Portland. All right, I'm not totally for this move for the Blazers. From the human perspective, I love it, but the amount of money they're given, the no trade clause, a little bit of a surprise. But what do you think about Portland's plan here to build up their young talent alongside veterans and make a real run right now? Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, don't forget to subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. Until next time, see ya and stay safe.